how to reduce high blood pressure. High blood pressure can be very dangerous, and blood pressure is actually needed by the body at a certain level because that's the pressure that is needed for the nutrients to go into the cells. If you don't have pressure, the nutrients don't go into the cells, and if you have too much pressure, it can break up your blood vessels and you can have strokes or heart attacks. So various things happen, or varicose veins, or different things can happen to your blood vessels because the blood vessels are not strong enough to contain the pressure. So the healthier your blood vessels are, the more the pressure can hold, but it's not a good situation to be in. So what do you do to reduce the high blood pressure, and what do you do to actually help your cells, your body actually produce healthy cells so that your blood vessels are flexible, are elastic enough to take on the pressure when it rises? I'm Alan Wannitz, I'm a nutrition expert. I help people restore their health using nutrition and food. And I thank you for coming to listen to me. So stay with me while I give you some tips and a highlight on how to handle this problem if you're sitting with high blood pressure, and how to bring it to under controlled levels the natural way, and can become free of having to use medications all the time. So if you're on medications, do not stop your medication, but what you can do is you improve your health, you improve your diet, which I will show you, and eventually in collaboration with your doctor, you start reducing the medication to the point where you might not need it at all. But you have to take on the process, and this is what I'm going to explain here. So number one, in high blood pressure, number one is a kidney response. The kidney normally responds with blood pressure. If your potassium levels are low, the kidney responds and actually ups the pressure. So what you need to do in terms of a solution here is your potassium-sodium ratio has to be controlled. So sometimes what tends to happen, they'll say, your salt is too high. Drop the salt. But your potassium is so low that it doesn't help, because that low potassium is what triggers the blood pressure. So instead of dropping the salt, you must raise your potassium levels so that it has the same ratio. So when your potassium and sodium are at the same level, so even if you have a high sodium and you bring your potassium to that level, it doesn't respond to the kidney and it doesn't up the pressure. So it's not only salt that brings the pressure up, it's the potassium which is low. So potassium also you have to take your levels of potassium to make sure, or eat foods that are rich in potassium. So the next thing that I say is eating healthy foods. So in eating healthy foods, you need to eat a food diet which has got 80% alkaline foods and 20% acid foods. So in the 80% alkaline foods, those foods are rich in potassium. So you get your potassium naturally, or you can get them in supplementation form. So now that you've handled your salt and potassium and your kidney response is good, the possibility of blood pressure going up because of that will be less of a problem now. Now, if you've got kidney problems, that's a different problem. With kidney problems, there's issues with potassium that you have to deal with your doctor. But if you don't have kidney problems, this is step number one, is your potassium and salt levels have to be addressed. Number two is blockages in the blood vessels. So now, if you look at your blood vessels now, if you have your blood vessels now, this is your blood vessels, and you've got your blood, your red blood cells are moving through the blood vessels at the right pressure, which is fine. So now imagine now, it's like you take a hose and you start putting a finger by the hose. What happens to the water? The water flow is the same. So basically, your blood flow has to be the same. So in other words, the same amount of blood has to come out on the other side at a certain pressure. So now you've got this size of the blood vessel, so it allows this to happen. So now, when you put your finger on a water hose, what happens is the pressure goes up. Why the pressure goes up is because that same number of cells have to go through. So now, what happens now if you have, number one, if you start having a buildup on your cells now, a buildup of cholesterol and calcium. What happens here? Now it's like it's the same thing as you're putting a hose now. So what happens now? And now the blood has to flow. So the pressure goes up now. The pressure starts rising now because the same amount of blood has to go in. So what is taking strain now? So when the pressure goes up, the blood vessels, the walls of your blood vessels start taking strain. And if your blood vessels are not elastic enough, that can burst. So if you have a burst vein in the brain, you've got a stroke. If you have a burst vein in your heart, that means you have a heart attack and you've gone. So, and this, they call it a silent killer. Because, so number one is you've got cholesterol buildup which builds the pressure, and secondly, your blood vessels are not flexible, they are not elastic enough. When you're young, your body, your cells, everything is elastic, so it takes the pressure, but as you get older, that pressure. So what makes your cells, your blood vessels become very hard? What hardens them? Alright, basically, it's junk food, so it's high carbs, high sugar, and refined oils. So refined oils is the canola oil, sunflower oil, which you've been told is good or has got low cholesterol. It's not the case. You can't build your blood vessels with these oils. These oils are going to make them hard. So the moment they come harder and you have cholesterol buildup, the cholesterol now can come and hold on to it because it's not smooth anymore. So because it's not smooth and hard, the cholesterol builds up here. So how does the cholesterol buildup start and how does your blood pressure start? Is basically with the refined oils that you're eating and high carbs. When you're eating a lot of food with a lot of carbohydrates, bread, a lot of bread, a lot of sugar as well, it actually starts hardening these things. It's called a form of glycosis, where the body mixes sugar with protein and it starts building this with the wrong oils. You need omega-3 oils to build your blood vessels. So the carbs, the sugar, the refined oils, if you keep taking it and then you start having diabetes and all, that means your carbs and sugar is very high, your refined oils is very high. Your blood vessels now start getting hard. So as it gets hard and the cholesterol and the calcium builds up, then your blood pressure goes up, and that's what happens. Now, what is done normally medically? They give you tablets to drop your blood pressure. So when you're dropping your blood pressure, means you still have the blockages, so it means less and less blood is flowing, so which means less nutrients, so you start getting tired and all sorts of different complications start to happen. The thing to do is to fix the blood vessels, is to give it the right foods, nutrients, and to start removing the blockages naturally. How do you remove blockages naturally? So we went on solution. Potassium sodium ratio is handled that, so the kidneys don't trigger this. You eat healthy foods. I provide a health consultation for 30 minutes. I teach you how to eat, what are healthy foods. I give you a diet sheet. I give you information on eating healthy. So you can ask me, you can book for a 30-minute health consultation. There's a link in the video which you can find and book your consultation, and I will take you through and give you a map on how to eat healthy foods. You need the healthy foods, you need omega-3 rich foods. I'll give you a list of omega-3, or you can take omega-3 supplements. You must go into a low carb diet, high fat and medium protein. So low carb drops the sugar. So when you drop the sugar, there's less sugar to come and affect this thing. High fat meaning good fats, not the fats that I explain all of that. What are high fats and what is medium protein? You have to have medium protein. So that now will stop the body building the wrong blood vessels, and it will also stop building up the buildup of blockages. So the blockages are made up of cholesterol and made up of calcium. Calcium should never be sitting in your blood vessels. Why does calcium sit in your blood vessels? Is because you're missing cholesterol and you're missing what is called vitamin K2 and vitamin D. Vitamin D puts the calcium in circulation. It keeps it in circulation. Vitamin K2 comes and takes the calcium out of the blockage and puts it back into the blood, and that takes it to the bones. That's where calcium belongs. Calcium belongs to the bones. So if you don't have K2 and you don't have vitamin D, that problem will start getting worse and worse and worse, and you end up with a heart attack or a stroke. So lecithin is made by the liver. The lecithin dissolves cholesterol. So when you take lecithin, you can take lecithin in supplementation, and your liver also makes lecithin. So when you have a balance of lecithin and cholesterol, it keeps it in suspension. So the cholesterol now becomes small little particles and goes into the blood. So now this starts breaking up that blockage, and suddenly your blood pressure starts coming normal. So if you're on blood pressure medication and you've got a higher flow, your blood pressure will start going low. So you need to reduce the blood pressure medication, because now the right blood flow is going through your body, and you've got the right amount of nutrients. So what happens? Your body rebuilds, your energy levels start going up again. You don't feel tired because now there's more nutrients coming into the body. So that's what lecithin does. So lecithin, vitamin D and vitamin K2, these are the supplementations that will dissolve the calcium and dissolve the lecithin and remove the blockages. That takes a while. The blockages took many years to become like that. It's not something that happens immediately. So you give it some time with your healthy diet. for the lecithin. So maybe 6 months to a year, all the blockages are gone. You've got new cells because you're not eating junk foods, and new blood vessels, they are flexible. And all these things, when that happens, your body gets back to its original state as a young person. And fourthly, what I also highly recommend is a liver cleanse. Clean your liver, because you normally will find liver is probably fatty. You've got fatty liver, probably the onset of cirrhosis. So when that happens as well, liver is not able to clean the body, is not able to remove toxins, and it's not able to produce lecithin and not able to process all the oil-based vitamins and hormones. So a liver cleanse is done. I give information on how to do a liver cleanse, and that will give you this whole package here, which will actually help reduce your blood pressure, bring your blood pressure back to normal without the need for medication, have open blood vessels, and don't have to worry anymore about a heart attack or a stroke, because now you've managed to clear it. So start with this like immediately, like now. If you've got the onset of diabetes, you've got diabetes, you can be guaranteed if you've got diabetes, there's definitely blockages. So consult with me. Take advantage of the 30-minute free health consultation. We do it on Zoom, online, and I go over this. I ask you a few questions, then I give you a map. The map gives you a direction of where you want to go to. So if your destination is to improve your blood pressure, or to live a healthy lifestyle, have a longer life, have longevity, these are your goals. And I will give you the map and the pathway, the drive to take you through that. I thank you for listening to me. I hope you've learned something, that you can actually control your blood pressure naturally and become free of high blood pressure and free of the future risks of what high blood pressure can give you. So I look forward to meeting you soon, and we'll take it from there and give you a healthy lifestyle.